I love that that Bud's first comment says Frenzy on the left screen and Motu on Prime on the other screen. Let's go. And Eric, of course, says, I see you have your priorities in place. Nice. I love that the first two comments are exactly kind of the headspace that Sean and I were just in before, when we were talking before we went live. So welcome to the Frenzy, folks. As you can see, it's Skelly and Uncle Sean here, and we're really excited. We're really excited to chat with you all tonight about the San Diego Comic-Con reveals. We've got Alan, Vine Jungle Figure Factory, in the chat as well. We're, as you can see, we're short a few people tonight. Oz is out tonight. He sends his regards. He's sorry he couldn't make it. And Adam will probably be popping in a little bit later. And of course, Bobby is unable to make it. Bobby's been a little bit absent lately, and that's perfectly fine. He's got a lot going on. But we do want to take a moment and wish Bobby a happy birthday because it's Bobby's birthday today. So Bobby, if you're watching, happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you. Give him a little Bill Murray there.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, happy birthday. Yeah, anyway.
Speaking of which, Bill Murray will be on later, and it took a lot of effort to get him on here, but he's really excited to talk about the San Diego Comic-Con reveals as well.
Absolutely.
But so Sean and I were just talking about this in the green room a second ago. But Sean, I think a good way to start tonight's conversation is to talk about our feelings about the movie now that we've, been living with it for a while. It's on Amazon now. I'm sure you've had a chance to watch it again, maybe once or twice. How are you feeling about the movie now that it's out of theaters? You've been able to digest the information, digest things. Do you have any, if you got a chance to sit down with Travis Knight, would you have any pointers or constructive critiques or anything like that at this stage?
I mean, I guess first off, I'll say, yeah, I've gotten to watch it a few times. My whole family now has watched it. And everybody in my family has enjoyed this movie, including my wife, who I'm not saying that she's a hard sell, but for me loving He-Man the way I do, and then for her to actually sit there and go, this is great. Both sides of the spectrum of the house, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And actually only a few days later, she goes, hey, can we watch it one more time? I'm like, movie night, let's do it. And so, yeah, within the whole week, there was 2 showings of that in my house with her sitting through both of them, which was amazing.
Nice. That's cool. That's progress.
It is progress. It's actually really, really fun to go, wow, something I'm enjoying, I can put on and nobody's going to give me any guff about this. They're going to actually go, hey, Dad's got He-Man on. We're going to watch this. So the one thing that I was tinkering in my, other than I will still say, I feel like some of the comedy overdoes it in this movie.
Yeah.
And that is something that if I could have been on the set, I would have been like, hey, let's rein it in a little bit. People do think it's fun, but funny is a different thing than fun sometimes. I'm
with you. I would say maybe like they could have done half the jokes, like literally just split the number of jokes in half. I mean, I still believe, and this is after having watched, the first time I sat down and watched it, I was like, I'm not sure if I'm on board with the humor here. And then I understood why. Like about 15 minutes in, I was like, okay, I understand why this is this way. But even now, I kind of feel like, maybe we would be able to feel more affected by the stakes if there were just a few less jokes. But anyways, sorry, I didn't mean to jump in there. I know you.
No, that's fine. I mean, honestly, it's like one of the movies that every time we brought this up, we all kind of used this as a as a reference of what we were thinking it would be, was Guardians of the Galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
And for as much as I love the Guardians trilogy, the one thing that series started doing that affected Marvel, for my money at least, was it would make more of those little, like underlying dramatic moments. You'd have somebody making a comment, or you'd have some kind of a joke that then might take the weight out of some of those moments, or some of the tense situations or whatever. And I feel like Marvel used that a lot going forward, because they're like, oh, people like this, we need to do this everywhere now. And it's like, you don't need to do it everywhere now. And I feel like even in this movie, that was one where they were like, well, that worked there, and that made people love those movies. And it's like, it worked there only because these characters were being a little more silly in the dynamic. This doesn't need to be that. This doesn't need to be as silly. So I would say exactly what you said. Cut it by half. There are some legitimate, like the one moment that made my wife laugh, and she even said she thought that's what they meant, was that moment with Skeletor talking to them when they're camping in the jungle, and you are all buttworms beneath my feet. Buttworms. Did he call us buttworms? And in the theater, I'm like, oh God. And then at home, I'm hearing my wife laughing to that, and I go, I can deal with that. I can deal with it, because Duncan's not in that mindset yet. He's still in his finding himself mode.
He's hungover still. I mean, he's hungover.
Exactly.
But what I liked about that, and I really had to digest it too. And that's funny because the buttworms digest it. But like what I really liked about that is kind of the same way that Thor's Shakespearean syntax is made fun of in the Thor, in any of the Marvel movies where Thor is a character, and making fun of Skeletor's sentence structure is, you are but worms beneath my feet, is his like Shakespearean, but to make fun of that was really smart. I thought that was good. That was one, definitely a joke to keep. But I'm with Alan here. I don't like Man-at-Arms saying asses 5 times in the first 5 minutes. Yes, split that in half. Split it in half. One thing I do want to make a comment here. Bud had a critique. He asked Travis if Mattel hates Mossman because why have we killed him 3 times now in the past 5 years? And there was a scene supposedly that where Pig Boy was supposed to eat Mossman's remains.
I heard about that.
I heard about that too. I'm actually glad they cut that, Bud, because now we know that Mossman's remains still remain and he can regenerate. And that's one thing about Mossman and Swamp Thing, for example, that I've always appreciated, is there's the ability to regrow. So even though Mossman's been killed, I think there's still hope for him, and I'm not willing to give up on Mossman yet.
He has become the Kenny of the Masters of the Universe franchise, though, in that way, unfortunately. And I know I have a friend, Matthew Rodriguez, and that's his favorite character. And we just look at him and we're like, "Are you sure you're happy with this?"
The first when I was in the theater watching Masters of the Universe and Mossman got melted, the first person that came to my mind was Matt Rod. And my heart went out to him. I love Mossman too. Like, Mossman is like definitely my top 5 favorite characters, but like, I know Matt just loves Mossy. So but here, any other critiques, Sean, that you might have?
Well, the one thing that I thought of the last time I watched it, and this would probably change the dynamic of the movie a lot, so I can see why it won't work, but I still want to throw it out there because I think it's actually kind of relevant, is Adam being an HR person, the
Hmm.
more I think about it, doesn't make sense to me because we see all of these drawings he does when he's a kid, trying to remember his home, trying to, give himself something to, like give him something that's like solid to remember other than his own imagination and his memories. So you see him drawing all the time, all these different scraps of paper, his room's lined with these drawings. And I thought about it just the last time when I was talking to my daughter, and I'm like, why didn't they let Adam be a fantasy artist in this? That would have been, because one thing too that in the movie that Man at Arms brings up is he talks about the artists and the poets are not the ones that go to the front of the line to
Yeah.
protect their homes and their family. It's the warriors. And I kind of like the idea. He would say something like that, and then Adam being kind of like, I've been painting and drawing for years. Like, to him, it's like, that doesn't mean I'm not going to do the right thing here because this is what makes sense, But in our talk before that, when I was throwing that out to you, I love that you reminded me, but how many creatives actually managed to do this for real and get paid
Yeah.
for it? I'm like, you got me there, Skelly.
Yeah, that was
there.
my biggest argument there is like, Adam is such an underdog at the beginning
Yeah.
of this movie that to me, I feel like that's such an integral part of his character, of this particular version of Adam.
Mm-hmm.
He's no one, he doesn't feel like he fits in, and really like 98% of all artists are working HR jobs or, custodians or whatever they are out there in the real world. Sean and I were talking behind the scenes about this. Like, he and I are both artists. And what do we do to make a living? We work other jobs.
Yeah.
And that's just like, I think even, I'm kind of, part of me agrees with Sean here, but also part of me feels like, I'm gonna disagree with Alan's comment here. Sean Adams' art never got better. He still used crayon. No, there were some really good like really good drawings on his wall in there. But anyways, the point being, like, I think that this is an interesting commentary on how Hollywood portrays artists. Hollywood is usually, if we're gonna make a movie about an artist or an illustrator or whatever, that movie is going to maybe romanticize or over dramatize or raise the level of importance of that particular artist, because usually they're focusing on someone who's well known if they're going to make a movie about him.
Yeah.
And the concept of genius is always blown way out of proportion in movies. And so I kind of appreciated the fact that this guy's just working a regular shitty job.
Mm-hmm.
He's drawing these amazing things at home, and yet he's just having to work this job, and nobody's really listening to him, and nobody's really taking what he says to heart.
Yeah.
And if you're an artist, and I'm looking at you, Sean, like, you and I have experienced this, I'm sure, like, that's how it feels sometimes. And for him to go find his way to Eternia, be proven right by, through this experience, that's where that's I feel like where his character, where his foundation lies, I guess.
Yeah. And I agree with that. And the other thing too is, I mean, his version of diplomacy is not Randor's. We saw that when he was a kid, and Randor's just like, take the sword and fight me and all that. And it's like, Randor's version of everything is, I want to prepare you. The world is a very tough place, but how often does Randor actually try to reach out to the person that he's dealing with versus just all of a sudden he's wielding a sword at them? Like, we don't know all this history.
Yeah.
But with him being the way he is about his son, that almost implies he's probably a little more quick to draw the sword than to pull out a pen and sign a peace treaty or something.
Yeah.
So in that way, it's a really good way of demonstrating my words and my, the way that I present myself and my words are going to de-escalate the situation and possibly get somebody on my side instead of making a new enemy, which that works. Yeah. One more thing I will say real quick, and then I'll let you run with this here, is I really wish they would have tied his roommate into something one way or the other without him just being this random character in his life. And I know that happens when you have roommates. I've dealt with that in my past as well. but like hearing Travis Knight and Nicholas Galitzine talk about Adam and his history with growing up, and he probably was bounced around in these foster homes, there was a part of me kind of going, how cool would it have been if that guy would have been connected to him as that was his best friend and the one constant person in his life, and he's even the guy going, I believe it was all real, dude, it's okay, like he's the only person that has his back.
That would have been amazing.
And
also he could have been that character could have been us. They could have represented
us,
the audience. I don't really think that there, a lot of good movies have a character that represent the audience. And I don't think that there necessarily was one in this movie. And he would have been a perfect opportunity for there to be, some empathy for Adam's struggle, some disbelief, but also a kind friend who's also an orphan. I thought of that too. And I think that would be amazing. And the fact that he shows up randomly at the end and then kind of disappears like that, that's all stuff that could have been thought out a little bit more carefully, for sure. That character in particular. I'm glad you brought him up. We've got Choo Choo Bulu 1. Welcome. And then I do want to go back to this other comment here. Bud brought this up. Yes, a lot of us are talking about this, the weird coughing scene in the middle of the amazing slow motion walking scene. And why there is a rumor that Stinkor was cut out, and I think a lot of people are assuming that scene with the mysterious dust or smoke or stink or whatever was, that's another thing too that I feel the director or the studio, I mean, a lot of this blame can be placed on the studio for trimming things here and there, even though the director the director might have wanted to fight for it. Sometimes that happens. And so I don't know. I feel like some things were cut short. Perhaps the roommate was one of them. Perhaps, Moss Man showing a spark of life in there could have been a thing cut out. Perhaps Stinkor's appearance could have been a thing cut out. Merman, so many things. But it would have been amazing if Stinkor was just like, giggling or something in the background or spying from the background or trying to stop them from escaping from the background.
Just having him see them bust that down, and also you hear him go, oh shit, and then it just explodes, and that's where that puff of gas comes from.
Folks, if you're just tuning in, we are going to be talking about San Diego Comic-Con reveals in a little bit. But Sean and I were having so much fun before we got started talking about the movie and our feelings about it now that we just figured we'd talk a little bit about it. I'm glad that Masters of the Universe movie is, I think it might even still be #1 streaming on Amazon right now. I'm glad that it's finding its audience on, through a streaming service. I'm glad that's finally happening. And I don't think the theater is the best place for certain kinds of films these days. It's just where we are in the world. A film like Spider-Man is going to succeed because it has a strong foundation of successful, previous successful iterations and stuff. But It's the fact that Supergirl didn't really do well could be a reflection of the quality of film that movie is, but I also think that it's a reflection of the climate, because we've seen a lot of crappy movies be successful in the theaters, and we've seen a lot of really good movies not be successful in the theaters, and I think that's just where we are right now.
I mean, there is an element of like superhero fatigue for myself even right
Yeah,
now, and
superhero
that's
fatigue.
saying something, because
Yeah.
I'm usually pretty pumped when a lot of these things come out. And I think part of what the charm of Masters of the Universe was for people that maybe are discovering it now on Prime
Yeah.
or went to the theater is this isn't your typical superhero movie. It has elements of from the story to follow the beats of, okay, here's this chosen one character and all that kind of stuff. But it played it in its own way, and it played it like either you said it earlier or you just said it at the beginning of the show. It was like us getting to play with our toys again. It
Yeah.
felt like how we would be playing if we were back in the 80s and getting these toys out and going outside and going crazy with them. And, you know, like that kind of energy is something you can't fake that and make it work unless you know how it was and you were there. And there, like the whole Snake Mountain sequence with He-Man going toe to toe with everybody.
Yeah.
And you know, like the end of the movie with the way that he takes out Skeletor with all that crazy punching and the way the camera moves, it's like all of that's kind of how a kid would do it, you know.
Yeah,
it works.
That's what I appreciated about the Revelation and Revolution series, is that it felt like we were getting closer to an iteration of Masters of the Universe storytelling that felt closer to what it was like for me to be out in nature, playing with these figures and coming up with stories. But this Masters of the Universe movie does that better. The silly jokes, all the crazy, fight sequences, all that's exactly the kind of narrative that was going on in my head. Even the dangerous things that happen, the He-Man's power being something that he's uncomfortable with at first, or unable to sort of be in control of at first, and killing people and having feelings, like the feelings about that after having done it. All of those were things that I thought of when I was a kid playing these things. So yeah, I think it does a really good job. I want to go back before we start talking about the San Diego Comic-Con releases. I want to go back to a couple of comments and say hello also to some folks too. Nolan, good to see you. Oz is not here, but what Oz would say right now is it's not a toy stream without Nolan here. So good to have you here, Nolan. And HP Brown Sauce Craft said something really cool. I actually got to go see the movie with HP. So he said he really enjoyed the movie. He doesn't have the astute eye that you all do for the minor details. I watched the Filmation series when it aired, so 40 plus years ago is my only reference. So a side note to HP's comment here is that we talked about what about the movie worked. And so for somebody who hasn't spent a lot of time in the IP, or like we all have, collecting the toys and, following classics and, rewatching the 87 movie 1,000 times and all this stuff, and all the waiting and the talking and the excitement with Origins and Masterverse and Mondo and all this stuff. Like he still enjoyed the movie, and there's something to be said about that. And my wife said this movie's a lot of fun. Like she's not into Masters. She knows all the characters because she lives with me. Yeah. But she's like, oh, that's Spikor and that's Moss Man, Yeah. But she thought it was fun, and that means that the audience members that are now watching it on Amazon, hopefully a lot of them are watching or experiencing Masters of the Universe, maybe even for the first time, and still enjoying the movie.
Yeah, absolutely. Like my kids, my son who was the one that said he didn't want to watch it in the theater. He was going to wait until it came out on digital, and then he wanted to go the last time I went to the theater.
Yeah.
And so, I took both of my kids, and just this week, he noticed there was some ranking system on one of the things. We have one of those Samsung smart TVs, so it was showing us, on the list of top such and such, and Masters of the Universe was number 3 on this list. And he got mad, and he goes, "How could it? Our movie is number 3, Dad." And I go, "Our movie?"
That's awesome.
Okay.
That's awesome.
So, and one really quick thing though, from beginning to end, I really enjoyed the movie, but to go with what HP Brown Sauce was just saying, the moment for me that still is my favorite moment of the entire movie is that last 10 minutes of it. Or so 5 good. Minutes. I'm sorry, 5 minutes. That moment where he knows we know what he's going to do, right? And should we just turn around and let him do it? No, let him do his thing. And then when they zoom in on Grayskull with the theme again, the original theme,
it does all the things.
I get chills every time. And like my kids are like, "Dad, why are you wiping tears away?" I go, "Because I never thought this would happen."
Yeah.
Like, it is literally the 5-year-old that's still in my heart is like, we saw it. We got there, we got to see this. This is so cool.
Yeah.
And it's like that theme song, whether I'm not the biggest Filmation guy, but that theme song is still so amazing to me. When that part started kicking in, I'm like, "Oh, you guys got me. You got me hard on this one."
It flicks a switch, right?
Yeah.
And it takes me back to, sitting on the carpet in my babysitter's house, or just it takes me back to a lot of things, and I can imagine how it wouldn't even matter at all for somebody watching this that never watched those cartoons. So I think it was a real gutsy move to do that, and I'm glad they did it. I'm glad they threw in a lot of fan service. I was afraid that they would be afraid to do it, and it takes a lot of guts to do that, and I'm glad they did.
Absolutely.
So a couple other things too, Eric. Yes, every year my wife and I, usually when it gets darker early, so like late fall all through winter, and usually right into the beginning of spring, my wife and I will put on, all the episodes of Masters, He-Man, all the episodes of She-Ra, and just fall asleep to them at night. Yeah. And then Adam said he's on his way. So folks, Adam will be here. So that's awesome. And then Alan, yes, Alan brought up Beastman quite a few times in the chat, and we can't not talk about Beastman. Yes, we all need a Beastman spinoff series, and we all needed more Beastman in this movie. There are a couple of things that I just wish. I wish Beastman would have had more opportunities to show his strength and power, and show his abilities. But I'm glad that the Beastman we got looked and sounded like the Beastman that we got. That made me so happy, and I'll take it. I'll take it. Yeah. I know. I have a feeling we're gonna get more. And Mossman Sean says, one of my best friends finally watched it with his wife, and he had the same complaints as some diehard fans, but they both overall enjoyed it, and they're only vaguely aware of the brand. See,
nice.
So there you go. I mean, it's and Alan wants to talk Skeleton Warriors. Yeah, well, weren't there some, didn't Mythic Legions or Four Horsemen announce Skeleton Warriors at San Diego Comic-Con?
Yeah, I honestly didn't deep dive into that nearly as much as other things from San Diego Comic-Con, but they have another subline called Infinite Legions, so that can take other they can bring another IP from another creator and work with them to create their action figures and stuff. And now that, if I understood right, is now part of the Infinite Legions
Got
subhead.
it. I love it. I love it. That's cool. I, you know, Oz is the expert with mythics. I know, Sean, you have a lot more information in your noggin about Four Horsemen too. I love Four Horsemen as artists.
Mm-hmm.
I have a, I'm pretty limited on what I can get for myself. I think if I had less limits on what I could spend on my, I know that sounds hypocritical if we're looking back at all this stuff, but that's like, these are the things that the heavy hitters that I've collected over the years.
Yeah.
But I think I would go all in with anything that Four Horsemen are doing if I had the funds to do that.
Yeah,
because their artistry is so amazing, and everything that they put out. The Cosmic Legions, I was like, that shit's amazing. Those big figures, like, I'm drooling over them. But yeah, that crab guy they released not too long ago, just incredible. And the Skeleton Warrior sculpts look amazing too. So
absolutely.
Yeah. And so we're going to be talking more about Beastman. We're going to be talking more and we're going to definitely be talking about Masters of the Universe all night tonight. And I know, Sean, you're excited to talk about Mondo. There were some really cool things shown there, and that's another thing that I'm like, damn it, if I could just like, if I could, I'd be spending left and right. Yeah, there's so many cool things coming out right now, and I'm excited to talk about it. I think Adam would be okay with us starting, and I know he'll be popping in. So what do you say? Should we jump in?
Let's do it.
All right, and stick around, folks. I have a little tiny fun announcement at the end tonight that I want to share with you all, for the folks that stick around and watch the entire episode tonight. So do stick around. But let's talk San Diego Comic-Con, and big thank you to Adam for putting these slides together, and folks who are tuned in to hear Adam's wisdom. He will be here. So this is huge, right? For Origins collectors, we've all been waiting for Too Bad, this particular version of Too Bad. And I'm stoked about this. Look at that guy. He looks just like the vintage figure.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, the fact that the arms aren't twisted in on themselves already is like, well, that's something new. But but yeah, I've heard how many times, anybody who is into Origins, they're like, when is Too Bad gonna hit? Because this is like, he's an essential. Why is he not out yet? And
yeah,
the minute I saw that, I'm like, well, that should make some people pretty happy.
Yeah, I'm excited about this figure. I'm curious. Part of me, I know this is just because I'm nearly 50 and I loved the original action figures, but I kind of am curious about how they're handling the arms. I would love if he could punch himself in the face, and I know that's might be asking too much. But look at the way the shoulder joints are cut. It looks like almost like they are. This is unusual for Origins, and it's hard for me to tell. But are they? They almost look like the cut is straight up and down, almost like the arms will just go up and down. Am I seeing that right, or is it that typical cup?
Yeah, it looks like the original Masters of the Universe figures that weren't Too Bad.
Right, exactly.
Kind of, yeah, so I don't know. Maybe that was something they had to do for that figure, but I'm a little lost at why they managed to do it for everything else with that. Not the butterfly joint, but the shoulder being, you can do the T pose and all that now.
Yeah, I think that it's kind of like most Origins. They kind of have the cup and then the peg, so like the shoulders pop in, and then you can move them up and down and all that stuff. But and you can even see like that, on the purple side, You can see the little split there, almost like it is sort of like a flat, you know, like the vintage figures. So it's interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're seeing that right, and I know we haven't seen a physical version of this yet, so it'll be interesting to see. I love the vintage Too Bad. It'll be also interesting to see if he has the round back or the flat back, to see what they go with that, how they go with that. Alan says, I'll get this one, but the Masterverse Too Bad is pretty good. Yeah, the Masterverse Too Bad is kind of an amazing accomplishment as an action figure. I still have that guy. I won't let him go.
I do like the paint, though. I like that you got some purple going into the blue and stuff, so it's not like a clear split between them and stuff. And
yeah,
I like that it looks messier and things. So in that way, yeah. But it is kind of funny that they did do the photo with his arms up anyway, even though with Origins you'd figure they could do it however they want, but they still kept that vibe of it no matter what after all this time.
That's what we're expecting to see when we see an image of the vintage figure, and so they did that. They did that for us. This will be fun. You know, this is just gonna be a fun figure. Bud says that he has the Turtles of Grayskull 2-bop steady figure, and the chest on this one is wider than the Origins one, similar to the cartoon collection torso. So this one may have the action feature or one similar. Yeah, maybe. I kind of hope it does have the action feature. And yeah, so let's go on to the next image here. This is a big deal. Laserlight Skeletor. You know, this is huge because, of course, we never got this, and so it's when Mattel puts out a figure that is a version of something that's highly collectible, I get really excited. I'm very tempted by this. I did not get the Laserlight He-Man, but I am tempted by this for sure. And I love that this is the version of Skeletor before the New Adventures Skeletor came out, and it's almost like they were already leaning in that H.R. Geiger inspired direction and went all weird with him. So the weirder the better for me.
Yeah, considering, obviously over the years they've shown that they're not just going to stick to one mold for everything and all that stuff. But considering, you know, this is a mold that they probably won't get much reuse out of. They went all in on this thing, which is actually pretty impressive from my standpoint. And me not being that big into Origins at all, and seeing that, I'm like, they went as far as they could with that to make that look distinctive, and I think that's really cool.
Are his eyes glowing too, or is that just the brightness of the red? Does anybody know in the chat if they announced that his eyes would also glow? Also, and I know Adam would be able to answer this right away, but did the vintage Laserlight Skeletor's eyes glow, or was it just the glove and the Havoc staff?
Yeah, I never knew, so I couldn't even tell you. Yeah, if Adam was here, he could save the day. But no, they like, again, you know, for anyone who's collecting Origins that has been wanting both of these figures, you know, I'm happy for you at this point, because this had to feel good.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, here's these things, and it's like, guess what? Christmas, you know, you get everything, and you get a Too Bad, and you get a Laserlight Skeletor.
Totally. And you know, all the makers out there that have, you know, created their own lava falls for their Snake Mountains. Mattel took that idea and flew with it, and we're gonna get another Snake Mountain, this time with a transparent lava falls that can be attached to it. Oh, and Alan says, I think that his eyes were glowing also. And this is another thing too. I watched the panel, and I don't know if I just didn't catch it or if it was said briefly. I'm pretty sure that that Mattel mentioned that the lava falls are going to be a detachable lava falls. Like you can like slip it on to the play set from the top. But my big question is, did they reconstruct the shell so some light can pass through? I feel like the Super 7 Classic Snake Mountain had the behind the falls, it was empty of purple plastic, so light could actually shine through. Am I remembering that correctly, Sean?
I want to say, and granted, I didn't get the Snake Mountain, but I want to say I remember some toy photography where they were playing with that and made it look like it was glowing like lava and stuff. So
yeah, I think that would be a wise move on Mattel's part to have that be open from the back so that light could pass through. But I don't recall them mentioning that in the stream. Okay, here we go. Bud is saying they said there would be an open slot at the bottom of the lava falls. We can place a small light in it to light it up. So it's not empty from the back, but you can place a small light at the bottom. Okay, that's cool. Oh, good. Leave it to Pixel Dan to ask about it. That's good. I'm glad. I knew he would. And going back a little bit, Mossman Sean said, I believe the eyes on the Skeletor light up on the new one, but doesn't believe that they lit up on the vintage. And that's a pretty good percentage, 78%. And Alan said, I am going to get this Snake Mountain. I love the Origins Snake Mountain. It's an incredible play set. So if they can improve on it a little bit, I'm all for it.
I'm trying to look it up real fast, the vintage one, just to see, but I'm not moving fast enough. So keep going.
the vintage laser light Skeletor.
Yeah, So the lights, apparently, on this image at least, and actually this is the old one, I think, because it does not have the same. Yeah, it doesn't have the same joints.
Okay, hold on. Let me embiggen you. Okay, it looks like they light up.
But this is the old one.
That's the old one,
apparently. So I'm wondering if the new one does do that as well. I'm looking, but I'm not finding it fast enough right now. So
interesting.
But yeah, that is pretty cool that they do that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think it's I personally don't know how else they're going to improve this Snake Mountain besides adding the lava falls. I kind of wish that they would sell the lava falls as an attachment if you already have Snake Mountain, but I know they got to make their money.
Oh yeah.
But I feel like it's a little bit of a missed opportunity. They'd sell a lot of lava falls if they just sold it as an accessory through Mattel Creations.
Mm-hmm.
But there's this thing, it looks like a Snake Mountain Point Dread type thing in the background there. Do you see that?
Yeah.
And I'm not sure what that is. And when I watched the stream, I missed, if they said anything about that, I missed it. But I'm curious about that. So if that's coming with the Snake Mountain as well, that would be cool.
Yeah, I heard about the lava falls, but then this part, I'm looking at it right now, just going, I don't know what it. The hardest part too is this is kind of like one of those images like back in the late 90s where you had to like make your eyes get relaxed and then you get a 3D image because of how much line from the screen is on there. So it's a little hard for me even just to look at this right now, but that's the best we have. So
if you squint your eyes, if you just stare at this long enough, you'll see seagulls.
And then seagulls or a boat or something. Yeah,
a boat. Yeah. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see what this looks like. It'd be cool to see if they adjust the color scheme at all. I would be tempted to get this, but that would mean I'd be getting rid of my Origin Snake Mountain that I have up here and getting this one instead. And so if they change the color scheme too much, then I'll be hesitant, and I can just see it. I can foresee it like 3 years from now, trying to just find the lava falls on the secondary market. Right?
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes. This is kind of cool. The Masterverse, or the not Masterverse, sorry. Is it Chronicles? Movie Sorceress.
Mm-hmm.
This is kind of great. She looks amazing, and the cloak and the colors are all there. Be nice to get another Zoar. And this one being a Masterverse style Zoar would be cool to have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm impressed they went soft goods on this one.
Yeah, soft goods look great. Bud says should have had the lava falls, the meeting table with the red orb in the middle, and this. Oh yeah, that would be cool too if they packed that in, for sure. The meeting table seems like a missed opportunity. Like you got to have the meeting table with the orb.
Absolutely.
But yeah, this sorceress looks great, and definitely looks like the actress who played her. I saw an up close image of her face, and they did a really good job of rendering her face.
I granted we only saw the robes or the dress basically in the movie, but when you see this, I'm looking at her, I'm just like, I didn't know she wore clogs under that. Those look so weird with everything. Like I'm kind of surprised that they didn't like. I mean, like I know the boots were a little more like warrior-esque with the way Tila had them or the way He-Man had them, but there is this kind of like, that's it. That's what she wore for her footwear.
chunky sandals. Those are like 90s sandals.
Exactly. It's a little odd, but okay, like I'm even thinking of Filmation Sorceress. She had the blue boots and all that. It's like, okay, that works, but yeah.
Hey, Adam.
There he is.
Hey,
hi, how's it going? We got a little delay on the Wi-Fi.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah.
Cool.
We were just talking about as Mossman Sean said, sorceress's battle clogs here.
Battle clog sorcerer. That just makes me think there's going to be a battle clog stinkor one day too, for a whole different reason. But yeah.
Yes, I'm with Bud on this too. Hey, the sorceress does a tough job looking out from the castle window all day. Let her wear her Crocs. Let her wear her Crocs, exactly.
Or just just like footy socks, or what? I just let her be comfortable. The woman had to fight Skeletor on her own for a second or two in the movie. Come on.
I mean, I'm gonna say this: if she had more comfortable shoes than the chunky sandals, that would make a bit more sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like moccasins or something like that, right? Soft leather, supple, slip-ons, or hey, Vans slip-ons would have been cool. But yeah, these are a throwback to the 90s. I think that's rad. But yeah, this looks great. I'm excited to see what these look like in person. I'm always excited to see Zoar. So Adam, and what are your thoughts about the sorceress, the movie Sorceress?
She looks pretty cool. Yeah, I agree. The shoes are a little weird, but it's cool that they went all out with the cloth. The soft goods. I like the Zoar with. I don't know if I have it in this photo, but like it looks like you can swap out the spread wings for like folded down wings as well, which is cool.
Yeah, that's cool. It'd be great if there was like a perched Zor as well, but or wings that you could swap out to be closed versus open. But what are you gonna do? It is just happy to have one. It's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Be interesting to see if there'll be like soft rubber like the vintage one, the wings. Oh, here we go. Oh yeah, see what? Here we go. All we needed to do was go to the next slide and see that they have the switched out wings there.
Yep.
And Adam probably said that, and I just missed it.
I did, but I don't know if yeah. And I was listening earlier, and yes, laser light Skeletor's eyes do light up.
Oh, that's awesome. That's good. Thank you. And do you know? Okay, well, let's go back while we have you here, because you probably know this too. What is this structure in the background that seems to be more fleshed out in this sort of line illustration? It's got more shading. It looks like a Point Dread for Snake Mountain. Like, what's going on there? Do you know?
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't looked super closely at that one, and it's not very good resolution either. So I'm not sure what that is.
Yeah, I don't recall them talking about it in the stream. So I really don't know what's going on back there. It'd be interesting to see if that's an additional aspect of Snake Mountain that they're including too, like Snake Mountain's version of Point Dread or something.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, we shall see. If anybody knows in the chat, feel free to chime in. And Bud says it would be nice to have a movie version of her staff here. Yeah, that would be cool for sure. But this is a pretty amazing figure. And now we're looking at the core. Wait, these Origin? No, these are the core line, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
these are core. Yeah.
So we've got the second version of Teela, or the end of the movie version of Teela here, end of the movie version of Roboto, Man-at-Arms with brighter color. So these are all end of the movie versions of the characters, is what I'm seeing, right? That's what we're looking at, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's gonna make us old schoolers happy, because that, if you in watching the movie, I think we all got some kicks out of seeing the more vintage versions of the costumes and the colors at the end. So that was cool.
Yeah. Yeah, especially Teela and Prince Adam. I think it's cool to have figures of those versions.
Yeah, for sure. And I like the Roboto, the vintage Roboto colors and the transparent chest. I was a little worried they wouldn't bring that into the film, but I'm glad that they did.
Mm-hmm.
So have either of you bought any of these core figures? They're so affordable. Have any of you gotten them?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I just have that gold Skeletor is the only one I've got.
Yeah, that gold Skeletor is kind of amazing.
Yeah.
I have the
cool.
movie Skeletor and the movie Beastman. You got the He-Man too.
Yep.
Yeah, let's get a closer look at those, Sean. Yeah, they're kind of amazing. I know we talked about this last time, but the core figures are kind of rule. That Skeletor is great.
The only thing with these figures that I ran into so far was when I got a Skeletor, the first one I had, the right arm wouldn't move properly.
Oh, really?
At the shoulder. So when I was trying to adjust them, it would go up and then it would return back to the position it started with. So then by the end of the day, I had the thing so wound up, it was like dangling practically. So then I went back to Target and I'm like, can I get a new one? And and this one still isn't 100%, but it's way better than it was, at least.
Yeah.
Right.
But otherwise, like the QC on these has been really, really good, other than that Skeletor problem. Yeah. And I mean, I can honestly say I wasn't a fan of the Teelas that they put out so far, and this is probably the one that if I could get it, I'd put her on the shelf over all of them, because at the end of the movie when she showed up like that, I'm like, that's Teela. Why did it take us to this moment to get Teela? That's great, but
I mean, I saw the first version of Teela, the core figure. I didn't mind her like outfit at all. I'm glad they brought in a more like vintage stuff, version of her outfit later on. But I think the biggest problem with the the core Tila, the first one, was the face.
The face
Like,
and the hair.
they do such a good job on Nicholas Galzatine's face sculpt and Skeletor and Idris Elba. Like, they all look. There's two figures from the core line that their face sculpts could have been better, and that's the Trapjaw and the Tila. The Trapjaw is just not that great, but Beastman's amazing. Skeletor's sculpt is amazing, and the paint applications are fantastic. But I have to say, Tila's face, I feel like they dropped the ball on that. If I was Camila Mendez, I'd be a little bit disappointed in that figure.
This is her mea culpa with this figure, I think, because, and what there's 3 versions of her now, because there's the first one, and she looks like she just got out of the shower with the wet hair. The second one has her hair up, and then this one is like, to me, this one's the gold standard Tila. It's not that I hated her costume in the movie, but when we got to the end and that's what she looked like, I'm like, yeah, like upgrade, huge.
No pun intended. Gold standard. That's awesome. And Chubulu 1 says Goatman is great too. Yeah, that Goatman figure looks really cool. I've got that thing on my Amazon wish list, the 4-pack, just because of that Goatman.
Yeah,
maybe I'll get around to getting it down the line, But we also saw, and we'll get to it later on, but there's a Masterverse Goatman that's coming out that looks, Chronicles, a Goatman that's coming out that looks amazing. But this is kind of the stuff that I really want to talk about tonight and we'll get to the Mondo stuff's great too, but the new Origins figures that got everybody talking at San Diego Comic-Con. I have some feelings about these. I'm a little like, I'm in love, but I'm also a little bit irked by this. Like, it's almost like Mattel is like, I wish we would have done it differently now that we know. And so here they are, but they're also doing some other cool things with this too, like the Man-at-Arms with the battle armor. That's amazing. So I mean, there's a lot more to talk about here, but starting off with Man-at-Arms is a good place to start. What do you guys think of this? The fact that Mattel is doing this sort of the new Origins now.
For me, I'm slightly mixed on them. When I started with Origins, one of the first things I did was I created like cross-cell art customs of them because I wanted to replicate what the classics had done with the Origins. So like I appreciate them moving in that direction, but like there's like obviously Man-at-Arms. I mean, he's got the cross-cell art colors, but he's also very different because he's battle armor. So he's
exactly.
Clearly not a pure cross-cell art, but the others are so much closer. But there's enough differences where I'm like, you can do it the whole way there.
Yeah,
which we can look at when we get.
Yeah, for sure. Man-at-Arms transparent armor. I could live without it, but that, I mean, not armor, but weapons, the shield and the mace. I think it's a cool idea. I love the idea of the battle armor thing here, but the thing that I keep, sort of falling in love with is the cross-cell colors. Bringing in those cross-cell colors is like, that's just beautiful to me. So there's some interesting choices happening with this line that we're going to talk about, but this Man-at-Arms is kind of a lovely figure to look at. The battle armor He-Man here with the better face sculpt and the better colors. I think this is kind of great too. I'm glad they're finally getting us a head sculpt that is closer to the vintage. It's more severe. It's less like softened, like the previous iterations, I think. What I don't understand is why we still can't get the vintage style battle axe. I think that one Masterverse iteration had a vintage style battle axe. I don't remember which one. But why they haven't
Yeah.
dropped that into Origins is a little bit beyond me, because that vintage battle axe is one of the most beautiful objects ever created in any toy line. And so I don't know why we're not getting that.
Yeah. What? So
Yeah, it's kind of funny because they started out. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Sean.
No, well, all I was gonna say was like the battle armor man at arms to me was like, well, that should have been a given. Like for him, out of all characters other than He-Man, like okay, that's cool that they went there finally. But this one, I'm not gonna lie, for me not having collected many Origins at all, this one actually had me do that whole, it's like here I am walking down the street with classics and Mondo, and all of a sudden this one shows up, and I'm looking over my shoulder because I'm like, this made me feel like a kid again to see that battle armor He-Man. Yeah, exactly.
I'm actually doing that by looking up at my battle armor He-Man that's up there.
Yeah.
And it's real, it's real close, and the colors are right, and it's nice to see. But again, the battle axe, like, I will not, the sad thing is not sad. Let's not say it's sad. Not spending money is probably a good thing, right? But the sad part is I probably won't fall for it. I probably won't get this one because I have a beautiful battle armor He-Man right up there on the shelf with the beautiful vintage axe. And almost, I hate to say this, but I almost feel like the axe would make it for me. Sorry, Adam, you were going to say something too.
Oh no, it's fine. It's funny because we got that axe because it was that San Diego Comic-Con 2-pack with the the Alcala style.
Mm-hmm.
Was something I'd wanted forever. I wanted that style, but now it's become so commonplace because they put it with every He-Man now. It's not like special anymore.
That's right. Yeah.
Yep, that's where my mind went with that. Like, that is a very Alcala, and I did not know that they've been putting it with the other ones, but like when I see that, I'm like, that's mini comics, and that also makes me happy on that level. But yeah, it's like, I'm sorry, it always will be this for me with Origins. When I look at those knees and I see the flaps, and I know they've augmented them, they fixed them a little bit more, but every time I see those, I'm just like, I can't get them. I can't buy them. Those will drive me up literally insane seeing them on my shelf, just going, why couldn't they trim those just a little bit?
I can understand that. And I'm glad you reminded me, Adam, of the Alcala axe, because you're right, that's it. But that's all that they've been giving us, and it would be nice to bring in that vintage axe. But yeah, the knees are a thing. I've kind of, the more I've lived with my Origins figures that I have, I'm kind of gotten used to them. It's kind of become a unique aspect of these figures. Almost, I'm happy. So this is where I get real geeky, but I'm happy I have the first iterations of the female characters' weird knees, because I feel like I'm part of a special club now of like having been there right at the beginning when they were not getting their stuff right. So there's a certain charm to these oddball decisions that toy makers make sometimes. We got another Manny Faces with the cross cell colors, which is cool. Here's where the crushes, like the hardcore toy crush feelings start to kick in for me. The Merman at the back, we'll get to Merman in a little bit, but the faker colors, just, they do it for me. That's the faker that we wanted to get in the toy version. That's the Merman that we wanted to get in the toy version. So it's kind of amazing to see.
Yeah, it's nice because this Manny Face is the original release. His skin color was very weird, like it was kind of sickly yellow.
Yeah.
So this is a much nicer looking, and I think these ones both turned out great.
Yeah, for sure. That faker's beautiful. Over the years I've realized that I haven't really given it a lot of thought, but I feel like Faker has always been one of those figures that I've always just loved. I remember being fascinated by it as a kid and loving it, and all it is a recolor of He-Man and with the Skeletor armor. So it's not that amazing, but it's just the colors that do it for me.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy's got red eyes, so that's pretty badass.
Yeah.
That merman, whenever we get that face, I just love it. To be honest with you, it's not too different from the one that we got, the Lords of Power merman that we got, that wasn't part that we actually got on the shelves that we could actually get, if we didn't get the 4-pack. But I do like the colors better here, and his pupils are a little bit smaller. I'm looking up there at the one that I have up there, and I'm comparing. And the boots are different. But yeah, this guy's great. It's going to be hard to resist him, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Yeah, and I like that they gave him the new feet. The feet look just like the cross-cell art feet.
Yep.
It looks like he's got like the 4 fingers. It's hard to tell because they're kind of obscured, but I think he's got 4 fingers this time.
Oh, he does. Definitely. Good eye, Adam. Yeah. He certainly
does.
But
for whatever reason, they should be yellow. They should be gloves. I don't know why they didn't make them gloves. That's my beef with this merman. Like, those should be yellow, part of the gloves, because that's what he was in the cross-cell art.
Yeah. Yep. I see that now. But I'm glad they did a new sculpt for the fingers. We can just paint the hands, right? But why so close yet so far away? That's what I want to know, right?
For me, that's been this line ever since it came out, though. Like, they do certain things that, like, wow, here's a full power sword instead of having the halvesies thing like when we were kids. But then, like, when you look at He-Man's face, you're like, but that's not He-Man, at least the first edition ones and stuff. And from then on, I've always just been like, well, it's not going to ever be the line that I want, because they're just there, but not quite all the time. But
yeah,
right.
Both of these are perfect examples, because when you look at Skeletor's feet, that drives me nuts. I love the skin color, the blue feet, and that's how he was presented in the mini comics and stuff. And I also don't like that head with the open mouth. I want, put his mouth closed, and you'd actually have a really decent Skeletor, in my opinion.
I mean, they've done the sculpt, right? Mm-hmm. Because we got the vintage version recently. I have a hard time with Origins Skeletor. I have from the beginning. And so I love having an Origins Skeletor in my collection, but I'm not going to feel the urgency to get this one.
Yeah. They gave him a new belt too. It's like the wider one from the cross-cell art.
Yeah.
Which is a nice touch. He's got the Keldor like shins, like the
oh, that's true.
Ones again. Yeah. So just color those feet blue. And it'd be perfect.
Yep. Yeah, it's so close. So close. All right, the next image here. So this is the part that kills me. Like, I want these figures so badly. And Build-A-Figure, I mean, I have a love-hate relationship with the whole Build-A-Figure concept. Just like I have a love-hate relationship with the mystery box concept. Like, it's fun. The idea of it is fun, but we just end up being suckers. We end up spending way too much money on these things. If you're a victim of the mystery box addiction, it's like, how many duplicates of things do you have in your collection because of that? And then you're having to spend time reselling them or whatever you got to do to get and this is going to be a thing that I'm going to be really having a hard time not trying to buy these pieces in the aftermarket just to build these guys because I really want both of them. You know, these are phenomenal action figures, and we all, you know, we all want this, right? I mean, this is something we all love.
Well, when I saw the photos from Sdcc last weekend and the Massive Power Demon was one, I literally, I like yelled at my phone. And my daughter's like, "What are you talking about?" And I showed her. I go, "I know you have no frame of reference on this, but I've wanted this as a toy ever since I was probably 5 years old. And now they finally do it in a line that I don't collect. Are you freaking kidding me?" You know, like it's even worse for me in that way, where it's like, oh, they couldn't have done any classics where I really wanted them to do it. Now it's in Origins, and I'm like, whatever, you guys. You're driving me nuts here, Mattel. But
yeah,
I'm glad that it's out finally. I also want the wolf though. I don't want it just to be the one guy. Hopefully they do the wolf too in the future.
Yeah.
But yeah, out of everything for Origins, both of these are like, yeah, I really would love them, but they're not going to be the scale of the other stuff I have. So
yeah, it's
these.
Go ahead, Adam.
These are 7-inch, so they're bigger than Origins. So they might scale okay for classics, except for it looks a bit cartoony for classics.
Yeah,
that's the other problem. I mean, the Massive Power Demon actually doesn't look that cartoony considering. I'm actually impressed by that. The Shadow Beast, I'm a little confused on that one because I always figured they were more lumbering, and this one looks like he's hit the gym a ton.
Yeah.
So that's the other thing where it's like it's almost there but not quite, like we were just talking about. But Massive Power Demon, that is legit. Like, yeah, that is how I've always wanted that creature to look.
Yeah. So folks out there that are watching that are like Alan, that are saying I'll get 6 Shadow Beasts, you know what that means, right, Alan? So if you have extra pieces and you want to send them our way, because you're buying a bunch of these and you have some pieces left over, just keep the frenzy dudes in mind, okay? Because we may not be buying enough of these to get our Shadow Beasts, our special creatures. So yeah, just keep us in mind. Yeah, these are amazing, and you know it's gonna be hard resisting not buying all of these to get these figures. Stratos looks great, looks amazing, but the king, the release, the image, the Beastman here is the best thing that I saw out of all of what I saw at San Diego Comic-Con. I hate to say that, but like they finally got the face sculpt right, and that blew my mind. That made me so happy. And he looks just like cross-cell art. I love the emblem on his chest. Like, this is the Origins Beastman that we should have had right from the beginning, in my opinion.
Yeah, I really dig them both. The armor, it's funny, that's from the Classics figure, but it's the version that they used for the WWE guy. I think it was like Braun Strowman or whatever. Yeah. Because so they flattened it to put his logo on the medallion, and so you can see it's a flat thing where they've just put like a
I see that.
Yeah. So, but I mean, it works. It looks great.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, you know, that I've seen people put Classics armor on their Origins, and it works. And I got a kick out of seeing some Classics armor in the WWE versions of these characters. But that face sculpt is what's really like melts my heart. That's the Beastman that I fell in love with as a kid.
Yeah.
And Stratos does look good. I think this is the best looking Stratos I've seen so far.
Yeah. I love the cross-cell harness. It looks so much nicer than the vintage toy style harness.
Yep. For sure.
Also, the face sculpt is actually quite nice on Stratos compared to what we had as kids even. And he looks a little like, I've never been a big Stratos guy, but he does look more heroic looking like this to me than when we were kids.
Yeah,
for sure.
he does. Yeah.
And that is a good question that Bud's asking. I agree with that. Like, why is it that he's just got the booties, and why couldn't they give Sorceress the booties? But Sorceress has a booty, so I guess that evens it out. I don't know, but he's got no toes, and how come Beastman is the only one getting the toes? What's up with that?
Odd decisions.
Yeah. Well, the cross cell didn't have the toes either on Stratos.
True.
On Beastman, it did.
Well, that makes sense. Then we're back to the H instead of the cross, and I know that's got some people up in arms too. I guess Mattel is committed fully to the H now. They're saying that's what they're saying. Does that mean that the next Masters of the Universe movie, part 2, we won't have a cross, we'll have an H? What does that mean?
I don't know.
It'll be battle armor.
Yeah, I don't. The guy said. He said, like, this is He-Man's emblem, and we're going to be using it on all our products. So, but I don't know if that means forever, or what does that mean?
Yeah, what does that mean? We shall see.
I think this is the first one where we've got, like, we don't have, like, the yellow tops on the boots now. It's just the regular colors.
Yeah, that's true.
So, I mean, you could mix and match, too, if you want the other harness. You could swap it around.
Yeah, that's easy. That's easy to switch. Another thing too is, I know I'm nitpicking here, but they still haven't gotten the shield right. The shield is not quite the toy shield, and I love the toy shield, just like I love the toy battle axe.
I don't know. I'm weird because I love the Alcala sword. I always loved that look, and I always wanted that when I was a kid. So it's like I don't mind seeing like the Alcala shield being used or the axe in that way, I guess.
Yeah.
But it's weird seeing the battle armor He-Man H on the harness for that looks weird to me still. But then if they want to do it with Thunder Punch, or they're going to do it with battle armor, it's sort of, I guess the way I look at it is it's like Superman's S. Superman's S doesn't look good if you have this big burly dude and he's got this tiny little emblem. But if you make it the size of his chest wide, then you're like you have like an icon, and in that way it's like I feel like that was never meant to be size down to this. I always felt like it was meant to be this broad H, and for some people HM emblem, and
it was on purpose because it fit into that shape that they needed for the tooling for that little gimmick, and that's why I'm sure that's why it looks that way. So it doesn't quite like our eyes don't see it. It doesn't work for our eyes because we're so used to seeing it fit so naturally. Yeah.
I mean, I'll be honest. I'm good with it, though. I've always thought that was an amazing looking emblem for He-Man. And I love that it was on the Dragon Walker and stuff. So it had that vibe of like, if you're going into battle and there's a flag, that will be the emblem on it to let you know you're the good guys. And that's cool. But it is a real change to see it on this in particular and go, okay, so that's what they're doing.
Yeah. And we've got Faker Tila here. And I think that's, pretty cool. I'm not completely sold on it or feel the urgency to get it myself, but I do think it's a pretty neat color scheme.
Yeah. If I was going to do a Faker of one of the 8-back, it probably wouldn't have been Tila, but if you look at her headdress, it looks like that's like the shape of it's a little different. I think that's also the cross-cell art headdress.
Yeah.
So I think they'll probably do a regular cross-cell art Tila eventually.
Yeah, that would be cool. I would like that. Yeah, it is different. I'm looking at the Origins Tila headdress here. On my green goddess figure, and it is that this one is more like the cross-cell art for sure.
Yeah, And it, like my buddy Customs, he said they're giving her a new belt. It looks like, yeah, I can't quite tell
Oh
what it
yeah.
is because it's black, but it might be that hanging leaf that you saw in like in the cross sell art in the classics version. So I don't know if
Yes.
it's a separate piece or what.
It does look like it's. It does look like it's like bulkier, so it could be a
Yeah,
separate piece. Everyone's into Anti-Eternia. A lot of I've been seeing a lot of people doing the customs of like just all the characters as Anti-Eternia characters, and I think that's amazing. It might be cool if like they did a convention exclusive down the line of like a whole set of the 8-back is Anti-Eternia. That would be aesthetically pretty amazing. Um, but I do like, something about the blue skin, about the faker design, and juxtaposed against some bright colors like this red here. It's kind of an amazing thing, and the red eyes look cool too. This Trapjaw is just gorgeous. He looks just like the toy, but with better articulation.
yeah,
Right? I mean, he looks great.
yeah. It looks great.
Yeah.
Much better than
I
the first release, I think.
Yeah, I mean, similarly, I kind of have an odd affection for the first release Trapjaw in Origins, but this one I just can't help myself. He looks beautiful, and then the Zodak cross cell art colors just is gorgeous. Yeah.
Yeah, that one pops for. I don't know why. Like even with with classics, I got Zodak in hand, and I'm like, man, he's a good looking figure, and I hated him when I was a kid.
Yeah,
And like when I see this, I'm like, it's something about that color scheme, and it's a boring color scheme, really. It's it. I get maybe it isn't boring, but it's just so neutral. I guess it makes sense.
Yeah.
But I don't know. There's just something about that way that gray pops against the skin tone that it warms my heart in this weird way. I don't even know how
Yeah,
to
it's
describe
good.
it.
yeah,
One of the best things about Masters is the choice of placing colors next to one another that wouldn't normally work, but totally works.
Yeah.
yeah. No,
One,
I'm a big fan of Zodak.
yeah, one of my favorite illustrators from the old timey group of Disney artists is Mary Blair. And Mary Blair was known for, putting colors together that you wouldn't expect. And I think there's something to be said about those bold choices. And I would be even willing to go out on a limb and say, and I know you guys probably feel this way, but that's part of what makes Masters of the Universe so phenomenal is just the color choices alone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those Zodak colors look great. I mean, it's who would think that they would work so well.
He's a perfect case in point. Like, and even like the cream belt with the gray with the red, and I'm like, okay, it all just meshes for me. I don't know what it is, and I'm not like Adam where I'm like, ooh, Zodak. I'm just usually like, I don't know how to play with this one. He's supposed to be judging everybody. He's judgy judgers.
Yeah. I was just looking back here to see if I had my Origins Trapjaw out, but I don't. Bud is saying the Trapjaw's upper legs are different, but everything else is the same. I think his face sculpt might be a little bit different too, and I'm not sure if that's just because he has the painted on eyebrows here, but I do think that they made his face sculpt a bit more severe, like a bit more angular than like the toy, like the original toy. But it's hard for me to tell without having the Origins figure here to compare. But he certainly has the vintage toy face going on here. Anyways, these are the art. This is the artwork that's going to come along with those figures.
Yeah.
All really good stuff. And we're getting into the Chronicles, the teased Chronicles figures. I gotta say, this Tila is incredible.
Yep.
Yeah, I think she's the best of the bunch of these new ones.
There's a lot going on here. I mean, there's concept art here, but there's also some bit of is it William George that did the '87 movie concept art? I feel like there's
William Stout.
William Stout, not William George. Yeah, William George is the ad art painter, right? There's some William Stout influence here. There's a lot going on with this figure that's amazing.
Yeah, there's even like who was it that did the She-Ra statue a few years back? Was it Tweeterhead or somebody else? But was it Sideshow? Maybe
Sideshow.
But like when I saw what they were doing with Masters, even for those statues, and then now to see this, I'm like, it's that feeling again of like, Mattel, you were 10 years behind what everybody else is doing, but I'm glad you caught up eventually. You know?
Yes, yeah.
And this is one figure case in point where I'm looking at it going, I do want this one on my shelf, and it's hard for Mattel to pull that one on me lately, other than the movie figures. So yeah,
I mean, that face sculpt is incredible.
Yeah, and this was like what is it, Bart Sears designing these now, right?
Oh, is this one of the Bart Sears versions?
I think all of these new Chronicles are Bart Sears, like the non-movie ones.
So that makes me even happier. So for anybody out there who doesn't know, I'm not trying to steal Adam's thunder or anything, but Bart Sears has been in the comics business since the 80s, and he was also working with Hasbro to do the Cops line of figures in the late 80s, and he's worked on other toy lines and stuff too. But when I literally in the last month said to myself, has Bart Sears ever drawn anything Masters of the Universe? And then out of nowhere on battleramblog, Adam posts the news that Bart Sears is now helping Mattel with Masters. And I'm sitting there going, right there, that was one of those moments where I don't know what happened, but it made me so happy because he's so good at drawing these huge muscular characters. And also, if this is something he did, I mean, this also shows you this is what you can get when you let him go wild with the women folk as well, you know. And
yeah,
I love this figure. I'm very impressed it's a Mattel figure, to be completely honest. This feels like Mondo or, you know, maybe NECA if they took it over compared to a Mattel piece.
Right. I think Mattel, I'm just going to say, when they work with, like, they find like a really talented third party, whether it's Bart Sears or the Four Horsemen or whomever, like, I think it's really helpful if they can reach beyond whatever they've got internally and find those really talented outsiders to give them something fresh.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And this is an example of that. And I feel like Mattel's face sculpts have been in the Masterverse line, and even I've seen some from Chronicles have been a little bit hit and miss here and there. And it's nice to see them working harder to give us something like this. This is like Sean said, this is like, you know, this is like a statue. This is they're making high art with this figure. This is kind of amazing.
Just real quick, the other thing too is if Tila looked like this in the movie, I wouldn't have said anything. I would have been like, yeah, that's Tila. You know?
There's a very good chance she might. I mean, you know, if Mattel keeps, you know, bringing in other artists to help them with these designs, as we saw in the Masters of the Universe movie, the Mondo influence is like pretty intense. You can tell, and so I think that there could be some more chances taken to push the costumes if they continue to make movies or whatever they're planning to do, which I hope they do.
Yeah, now I'm excited to see He-Man and Skeletor looking more like that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then we've got the Chronicles movie figures, another Fisto and Mecha Neck with the flexible neck, which is kind of cool. That Fisto face sculpt looks just like the actor. That's like incredible.
Yeah. And apparently the fingers a couple of the fingers together, like they're fused, but like two of them can move like this on the fist. So they've got some articulation then.
I can already see some customizers putting a cigarette between these two.
Yeah.
He's taking a smoke break.
Right.
Yeah, these are good figures, good looking figures.
Mm-hmm.
So these guys, I'm just gonna start this off by saying I don't know how I feel about these yet. And when I heard a rumor that there might be a Chronicles Clawful, I got so excited, and then I saw this, and I don't know how I feel. And Clawful and Merman are two of my favorite figures of all time, two of my favorite characters of all time, and I've loved all iterations of them. And I don't know how I feel about the Merman, and I don't know how I feel about this Clawful. What do you guys think?
I'd say I like Clawful. Merman to me doesn't look like Merman at all. I'd use him as like a Merminion or something.
Right.
But they look good, but he doesn't look like Merman.
Yeah, and go ahead, Sean.
Oh, I was just gonna say I'm pretty much the same. Where Clawful actually looks monstrous. Like that face on him. That's terrifying. I like that actually. I mean, the movie showed when you push the boundaries. Like freaking Spikor was when my son saw Spikor in the movie, he literally turned to me. He goes, "Dad, is that the devil?" And I'm like, "No, it's just Spikor. We're okay." But like, if you push the nightmarishness of these things to where they were when I was a kid, and in my head thinking, "Oh my God, to be in the water and merman's chasing you, or to be in the jungle and Beastman." So in that way, it's like I love that Clawful because Clawful always looked like a Muppet to me. And then like on the other side though, I gotta agree too, that looks like a minion for Merman. That does not look like Merman.
Yeah.
Because Merman, part of what makes him look regal is that armor.
Yep. Yeah, I think I'm now that you guys have mentioned the minion concept, like I feel like both of these figures could be minions. I have to say, I love the Muppet face. I love the Clawful Muppet face. I love the weird ass Clawful face from the vintage figure. It's so weird. As a kid, I was so disappointed that they made him look like a dog in the cartoon, and like and then I love the 2000X version of Clawful, not his voice, but the way he looks, and that's a way you can make that Muppet face really look menacing, is the 2000X design.
Sure.
There's something about this one that's, I mean, we can't deny that both these figures are gorgeous, but I do feel like they are not quite Clawful and not quite Merman. I like the minion idea because that allows me to accept maybe, talking myself into purchasing them down the line because they are beautiful figures. Right. And Alan said they look monstery, and I agree. They do look monstery. In fact, I think that Merman looks a lot like the creature from the Black Lagoon, specifically the one from Monster Squad.
Monster Squad, yeah.
And that is always I've always thought that that's a good design. It's not my favorite creature from the Black Lagoon design, but it's a good design. And I think these will look good if you have the budget to army build at the Masterverse or Chronicles price point. These are going to be great figures to do that with.
I'll give them props though. Like one of the things that for me, I feel like it gets stale is just revisiting the same old things all the time.
Yeah, that's
And,
true. Yeah.
and in this case, like I really wish there was more context between the Tila and these two figures of what the plan is a little bit more with Chronicles than just here are these figures, in that way. But I do love that they're going, well, we know what Clawful looks like in the original. What would he look like now? Or what would he look like if we did, and then fill in the blank. And I love that look. The Merman one, he just looks so underwhelming. Like the best way I can describe it, I think, is when we found out in Revelation the way he was going to look after Skeletor dies, and everybody was like, that's all they did with him? They gave him scars and took away his armor? Like, that's the best they could think of, And this looks better than that, but it has the same feeling of it could have been wow, and now it just feels like it's, well, that's nice, I'm
going to go out on a limb and say the Merman from the CGI cartoon was more impressive than many other iterations I've seen of Merman.
Absolutely agree.
And I'm not a big fan of the Mondo Merman. It's sad to say because Mondo's amazing, but their Merman is not that great. I feel like Merman gets the short end of the stick just constantly. Like someone's got to give this guy some love because he deserves it. The Revelation Merman, the two versions of him, just I hate to be that guy, but it kind of sucked. And I love Merman. I love the toy. I love the cross-cell art version. I love the 2000X action figure version of Merman. I like the 2000X action figure version of Merman better than the way he looked in the cartoon, but I still like that Merman a lot.
I'm not trying to cut you off, but one thing that interests me about this Merman, now that I'm looking at it a little closer, is it looks like he's got like a fin coming out of his back.
Yeah, he does. Alan,
I like that they're doing that.
Yeah, and it's a transparent kind of plastic too back there, I heard in the walkthrough.
So okay, now that I know that actually makes it a little more special, because when have they ever done that otherwise?
I don't recall. Yeah,
so like this wins me over from what Revelation did by miles. And the fact
it's much better than that.
Now it's like that actually is a little more visually interesting, at least on that level, than some of the other. Like, I wouldn't say this is the best Merman by any means, but I would definitely say out of the Merman figures I've seen, it would probably be in the top 5, though, maybe top 6.
I mean, I'd say for me it's vintage, and right underneath that is the Super 7 Filmation. I believe it was Super 7 that did the first Filmation, 7-inch one. Club Grace, or was it Club? No, Club Grayskull. Am I remembering that right?
Yeah.
Club Grayskull. Yeah.
Yeah, their version of the Filmation Merman, and then this Masterverse Merman that I got, the vintage collection Merman that looks like the toy, is spectacular. So this one is good, and I do think he is a minion. I wouldn't say he's Merman. He just doesn't have the personality in his face, but those transparent fins are pretty darn cool. We can't forget the classics. Sorry.
That's right.
Adam, can you
Classics
show that?
Merman.
Classics Merman with the card back face sculpt is the best, for sure.
Yep.
Yeah, look at that.
And I also love the blue one, the Toys
R
Us.
The blue Toys R Us one.
So fun.
Yeah, for sure, absolutely. So, and we're gonna look at another Merman here pretty soon.
We are.
and I have to say I kind of am in love with this one too. So we'll get to that. The Chronicles Goat Man looks amazing. As I guess he's going to be a taller scale too. He's just a big figure, and that's perfect. Love this guy. He reminds me a lot of Tim Curry's character in Legend, and I love that. So this is a cool figure. He's going to be a hard one to resist for sure.
Absolutely.
I'm now anxious to see what their Pig Boy looks like and what their Karg looks like, you know. I thought this He-Man is kind of interesting. I don't know if I'm super into it, but the face sculpt is kind of great, and I like the design of the armor here. Yeah, it's kind of cool. Space Age He-Man. I think he's supposed to be sort of like part of the Chronicles line, like the Tila, where we've got a bit more of a alternative design for him. What do you guys think of this guy?
I think he looks cool. They call him Flight Armor He-Man, so it looks like stylistically he's meant to go with that Sky Sled in the back there. So he's got like matching armor for the Sky Sled. I think it's a cool design. Like obviously you wouldn't want this to be your primary He-Man. It looks pretty cool.
Yeah. I like the tubes on the shoulders. That's a cool design choice, like the air tubes on the shoulders there.
Yeah. Facially, I was surprised that I like this so much. I mean, out of anything that Masterverse has done with He-Man, this is probably, and I know it's Chronicles now, but I'm still comparing them because they're similar in ways. This is probably the best that I've ever seen, other than the movie figures for me. And, but yeah, I would not want this one to be the main He-Man. But seeing those brown boots on the bottom has me hopeful that we're going to see a legit He-Man coming out instead of the flight armor version.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's a fun. It almost has like a knight meets steampunk kind of a vibe.
Yeah.
That it's like, if you wanted to have that be an alternate version of He-Man, go for it. You know, just let that be your He-Man if you want to do it that way.
Yeah.
So the William Stout thing really has me thinking. I do feel like this Tila and this He-Man will look pretty great together on the shelf, and they do feel like where my mind keeps going is Heavy Metal Magazine for both of these designs, and that's kind of great. I'm with both of you in hoping that this continues here in this way. So, all right, this is him with his helmet on. It's kind of cool. The Panther is nice. I really when the Chronicles Battle Cat was 50% off at Target, I hopped on that, got him for $20, and it's an okay figure. The part that really sells it for me on both of these cats is the face sculpt. The eyes, the way they follow you, the articulation of the jaw, and how the teeth retreat up into the face when you close the mouth, and back to the eyes. Like the eyes are like so believable, and it's great to know that Panther is going to get that treatment. And I really like the armor here too with the soft goods.
Yeah, the armor. I love that they made the armor different for him. And they just didn't get the same old armor. And I mean, honestly, these cats, these are the best things we've had since classics. And before that, we only had the vintage ones. Really, I mean, I know there was the 2000X one, but it's like that one didn't work for me the way the vintage did. Like I liked a lot of 2000X, but the Battle Cat and Panther did not do much.
They were not great figures.
But these, the amount of articulation even surpasses classics by a little tiny bit for me. And for the price point, I mean, I don't even want to say what I paid for my Panther Classics now that we're getting these for $40. I mean, geez. But
and we might get it at 20 if a Target
or
does the
20
same thing.
even. Yeah. I was one of the crazies that went out and got it for 40 when they were out. It shows what I know.
Well, I wish there was a time travel machine to be able to go forward and figure out when the sales would come. So just plan ahead for them. What's going to show up in Ross for sure? To know for sure what's going to show up in Ross on what day. Yeah.
Nothing good at mine ever. I've never ever bought much from Ross.
I've had some good luck, but
not me.
Yeah. What do you think, Adam, about this Panther?
No, I think he looks great. I mean, you can see there's a bit of the classics one, there's a bit of Mondo, so they're taking some of the past and they're doing their own thing a little bit too. And I agree with Sean. I think this is the first good cats we've gotten, because I didn't like the Origins one. The sculpt was a little funny on part of it. The some of the anatomy on the Masterverse I didn't like either, but these ones I like. I think they did a good job. Yeah.
Alan makes a good point. What I want to see more of, I buy at regular price, and that shows the sellers that's a good policy. That shows the sellers what they should have more of, and hopefully that knowledge trickles over to the company.
Yeah.
I'm a sucker for flocked Panther as a fan of the vintage line. I will always look at this purple on this cat with a little bit of yearning for flocking. It's just the way it is. I don't know, and it's burnt in my brain. But this is a really great, realistic looking Panther, and what I'm really anxious to see is what the Chronicles, not the movie Chronicles, but the Chronicles Skeletor that lives in this universe looks like. Because if they stick with the 80s fantasy heavy metal magazine style, that could potentially be really great. And Mattel, if you're listening, if you ever do a comic book of Chronicles and you want to make it look like something that you haven't done before, go for full on heavy metal aesthetics. But yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting to see what their Skeletor will look like.
Yeah, for sure.
Can't wait.
Yeah. And the Sky Sled's pretty great too. I mean, I know we're all huge fans of the original version, the Sky Sled, but I'm glad they kept some design elements from the vintage toy here with the dragon face and the really the colors, even though it's more metallic. But these are kind of neat.
It's kind of like a deconstructed Sky Sled almost.
Yeah.
This is how I wish it looked in the movie.
Yeah, we all feel that way.
This is much better in the movie.
That was one of the arguments my wife and we didn't have an argument, but that was one of the things. She was like, well, what would I have changed? I'm like, well, I would have changed that all of the vehicles could have looked almost more like animals and like a representation of them, because that is what makes Masters special in a lot of ways. And I like it. It almost looks, and maybe I'm wrong because we don't have a shot of the other side really, but how cool would it have been if it's like those are wings that come out when from the sides instead of it just being the decals and all that stuff. But maybe they just did that just to show you this is what it's going to look like and open it up. But I was kind of hoping maybe it's like a wing or a stability thing or something with the side there.
From what I understand, the image on the left is its regular position, and then the image on the right is it's when it's using its weapons position.
Battle positions.
Position.
Gotcha.
So the wings do extend out, and then the rockets become visible.
I like that. I do. I like that.
So that's kind of neat.
Yeah.
Again, I know, and then the mouth opens. The mouth opens, and there's like a little rocket thing in there.
That is cool.
If we ever make Frenzy T-shirts, on the back it's got to say "Where's the battle ram?" because that is we all feel that way. We don't understand what's going on with Mattel and why they keep giving it. How many different versions of Sky Sleds have we had? Just give us the battle ram. Like, now is the perfect opportunity. This Chronicles line could potentially give us a really interesting battle ram. But I just want the Origins battle ram, too. Like, there should have been a battle ram in the movie as well. So we're with you, bud. All right. Okay. Now we're getting into the Mondo stuff.
No, this is still Chronicles.
Yeah.
Oh, is this Chronicles? Oh,
this is Bart Sears stuff still. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know how I missed this.
These are exciting for somebody like me because this is what I was hoping that the Masterverse line was going to be like. And
you're going to get it, Sean.
And now we're getting it. It's just it took them about 5 years, but we're finally, or 6 years at this point, but we're finally going where I've wanted to see it go. And they have somebody that, like I said, with Bart Sears doing this stuff now, this is the kind of versions I'm like, I could accept this and be really happy with these new iterations of old favorites, and that Buzz-Off looks almost like the freaking Mondo that came out for the.
That's what I was thinking. That's what I was thinking. And so I really like both of these a lot.
Mm-hmm.
If this is the way they're going to look as action figures, these are great.
And that color scheme on Man at Arms looks freaking tremendous. I love. It's like, Man at Arms has always just been orange and green, but I love that now the inset parts are going to be black and the orange will outline. And it's like, there's something about that just looks freaking awesome. And granted, it's still a work in progress, so it's not a guarantee that that's exactly how it'll look. But having that kind of a contrast in the armor is visually so freaking cool to look at for a character that I 9 out of 10 times was not a big fan of until 2000X hit.
Yeah.
It's kind of cyberpunk almost.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
A little bit. Yeah, for sure. See, this is where they're kind of like, my mind didn't see it as even Mattel, because they almost look even different from these designs, leaning more towards cyber. Did you say cyberpunk, Adam? Like leaning more toward that than these. Even these are a little more like cyber fantasy, or like book covers from the 70s, sci-fi fantasy books. Whereas these are more cyberpunk. But they've kind of, the design of this Buzz-Off has really got me excited, especially that axe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the axe. And I mean, honestly, I'll just say this. You brought up the CGI merman a little while ago. If they would have done Man at Arms looking like this in the CGI show, I think that would have made him spectacular. Instead, I always felt like he was kind of like a low budget Iron Man look on that show. This would have been like, that's a freaking warrior right there.
Yeah, though I like the CGI show, I felt like the character design suffered quite a bit, and the merman was exciting to see.
Merman was amazing on that.
Yeah, but so many of the heroes' costumes were like, But this is really cool, almost like brutal Tron.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of what it looks like here. It would, Alan, it would suck to fly holding that axe. Yeah, definitely. But Buzz-Off has it figured out.
I love how organic that axe looks too. It looks natural. It doesn't look like it was made. It looks like something he picked off of a tree and it became the axe somehow. Like, I like that quite a lot.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And sorry,
packaging mock-ups and the packaging artwork for Clawful.
Yeah, the artwork's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see where this goes, this line. I definitely think it deserves a comic that goes with this.
Yeah.
Or even an animated series. So we are going to get a movie Spike Ore in Chronicles, so that'll be probably spectacular. I really like the Spike Ore. He was scary. All right, now we're on to Mondo stuff here. Funny because Alan just said the CGI show really boogered King Hiss. Yeah, the King Hiss in the CGI show wasn't that great. But this King Hiss, however, is pretty darn amazing.
He is. I'm not a fan. I always say anytime the Snake Men show up, that's the end of the line. So I don't know if that means something for the 1/6 line or not. I'm hoping. I actually stepped away from the 1/6 line after the Tila that I was lucky enough to be gifted, and that was that for me. But King Hiss, this version, he looks freaky, and I dig that actually quite a lot.
Yeah. Skelly, I sent you Chronicles in a separate file because I forgot him in this big presentation.
Oh, okay. Let me go ahead and you guys talk. I'll go find it. Did you send it in to the email address?
Yeah, it was just response back to your thank you email to me, so I responded back. Yeah.
Awesome. Up there.
But yeah, the King Hiss looks great. He's the massive snake coil too is just over the top.
Yeah. Well, the thing I like quite a lot is actually like when we got that figure in when we were kids, and when we got him in classics, he always looked like a wrestler that didn't know he wasn't supposed to be on Eternia. To me, He always had the domino mask and all that stuff. And like when you look at this version, like man, that face sculpt and the fact that you have that like it's like reptile skin and that tooth coming out of the bottom there, along with his normal mouth. It's just there's so many elements to that design that make me just go, he's hiding but in plain sight, and that's something that's kind of spooky about him now. So he honestly, though, I will say he's one that I wouldn't have bought no matter what, because I just don't like the Snake Men. But I can appreciate the artistry that they put into this design quite a lot.
Yeah. I know that if Oz was here, he'd defend the Snake Man. I'm kind of like you, Sean. I appreciate having a couple of the Snake Men as vintage figures, but I'm just not a huge fan, and maybe it is because when they show up, they're at the end of the line every time. This thing is like, would be amazing if it came with the stand, so you could just display this part, this attachment, right? Because this is the sculpt here is just extraordinary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is what I wished would have been under the shell when we were kids.
Yeah,
like, I remember when I was a kid opening that up and going, I'm not even afraid of this. How the hell is Snake going to be afraid of? But if this was underneath it, you opened it up and that snake mouth's about to bite you, I would have dropped it and ran for my mom. So they made up where they failed in the 80s for me.
Yeah. All right, now we'll take a little moment. We'll pause from the Mondo talk and get back to Mattel. This Chronicles Beastman movie figure is incredible. Yeah.
Yeah, he looks like the best Beastman so far of the like Origins core, and this one seems to have turned out the best.
Yeah, for sure. I like they got the colors better. The colors are more aligned with what we saw in the movie. The core figure and the Origins figure, those colors are weird. It's not quite what we saw in the film, so I really like that. We got better colors here, and it looks like he's going to be pretty bulky too.
Yeah.
Honestly, looking at that, I mean, just in general, that looks like a Mondo figure. That looks like the 1/6 that I have on my shelf with all of that going on, which is kind of mind-blowing to me that they're slowly getting there, even though like this is the movie version. But the movie version, like when I saw that on the screen, I'm like, that's a Mondo figure. That's not Mattel. Like just the look and everything.
Yeah. It would. Bud makes a good point. It'd be great if he came with like 2 fists, so he could get into a gorilla pose, because his arms look long enough. His arms look long enough for that.
Yeah, if there was like a little extra articulation in the middle, so that he can hunch a little bit more. I think that'd be great.
Yeah, the Masterverse line has failed us a lot when it comes to Beastman. There've been some interesting versions of Beastman through the Masterverse line, but this one I think really captures the heft of what Beastman should present with. This looks cool, and you're right, Sean. He kind of has the same feels like he has the same weight.
Yeah,
to him that the Mondo one has.
Yeah,
Alan, I have 4 Mondo Beastmen. That is mind blowing, Alan.
It's dedication. There,
I got 1, and I'm happy with that one. 4, I mean, gee.
4, you could have a coffee. You could just get a piece of glass and have a coffee table in your living room with the 4 Mondo Beastmen.
Like you get up in the morning, they're right there on the shelf. Hello, my minions. Let's start our day.
Yeah, you can weight lift with them.
Yeah, he's freaking. I mean, geez, we put 2 of them on the side of a barbell. Yeah.
Get
the curls going.
I do think that the Mondo Beastman, the first version of the Mondo Beastman that came out, is one of the greatest pieces of plastic art ever made. So yeah, this is gonna be nice. This would be nice to grab when he comes out. For me, I feel like this would be a must-have, whereas many of these other things are kind of like maybe. All right. We got Cobra Khan here, and he looks amazing. He looks amazing too.
Yeah.
I've always been a big fan of Cobra Khan, and this is a really great version. The scales, I love how like chunky the scales are.
Yeah.
And he's eating a little Modi, which is cool.
Poor Modi.
Poor Modi. Oops, sorry, went too far. But yeah, thoughts on this guy? Looks great.
Detail. And
yeah, it's beautiful.
That sword.
Sorry, Sean, what was it you were going to say there?
I was just going to say that sword. That was from, who was it, Fangor or someone?
Yeah.
I like that they have their own.
Did the Snake Men Army Builders have something like that too? Like in classics?
They had one that was kind of like a serpentine looking sword, but I think that was more specific to Fangor, if I remember right. But I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that. But I do like, for the weapon, that he has something that looks very snake-like too, as well. And just in general, like, the funny thing is, King Hiss was one of those characters that was always trying to play both sides, and he always had that vibe of he knows he's going to die if one of them figures it out. And the face sculpt on that one in particular has this anxiety look on his face that's killing me. He almost looks like that one right there on the left.
Yeah.
He has this look like, if Skeletor knows I'm talking to you, I'm dead. I kind of like that they gave him that. I don't think they did it intentionally, but in that shot, it looks like he is kind of nervous giving whatever intel he has.
Yeah, I see that now. Do you think he's going to have a water squirting action feature?
I doubt it, but if they wanted to make more money, they probably should have thought of that.
Yeah. I like this head sculpt too. This is going to be a good one for people who collect these. He's pretty gorgeous. And now we're back to the 2000X Mondo figures, and this Fire Armor Skeletor is pretty darn amazing. Mm-hmm. For those of you that have already purchased one version of Skeletor in this scale and from this line, how do you feel about this coming along now?
Must have,
yeah. The transparent plastic just is incredible. Beautiful.
Yeah, it's a great looking figure. One of the better 2000X variants, I would say.
Yeah.
It was funny. Again, I had a Bart Sears thought, and then Mattel zoned in, apparently. I doubt it was that, but I'm just going with it. In the case of this, when I got the Mondo He-Man, which I still have right next to me on my desk because I love this figure so much, I actually was wondering, are they ever going to do the variants, or are we going to stick with, the main, just all the different characters? And when they did the Anti-Eternia He-Man, I was like, maybe. Mm-hmm. And then when they showed this off, my jaw hit the floor, and my kids thought somebody died because I was like going nuts looking at my phone the other day. And I'm like, these are my favorite variants from this line. Like, the only other variant that to me is cooler is Snake Armor He-Man. Because number one, he fights snakes, it kills the snakes. Number two is just a badass looking look on him. But I love these two. Like, I absolutely am over the moon that they are making these.
I love Alan's comment. Oh no, that's
Jesus.
Like, I love this idea of putting lighter fluid in Cobra. Kids, don't do this.
Don't try this at home.
Don't try this at home. But Alan's comment here, the Skeletor get caught up in every curtain in Snake Mountain is so funny.
How many windows does he think Snake Mountain has?
Yeah, well, I think his Snake Mountain has quite a few, actually.
I mean, He-Man showed it in the movie that catches fire pretty easily if he's throwing people around with spike ore near him. So, I mean,
that's right. That's true. Then we got the Polar Ice Power He-Man, and I love this frosty plastic. That's cool too. In this variant from the original line, was the insignia a secret snowflake also, or was that done for this Mondo version?
No, I mean, the insignia, I wouldn't say it's a snowflake. I mean, it's the He-Man H. Is that what
I know? But yeah,
it does look a little Christmassy. I'll give you that.
Yeah, it looks a little Christmassy, right?
But yeah, I mean, they didn't do anything new or special to it as far as I know. But I mean, for me, looking at this, I don't remember. They didn't do an Ice Armor axe. They just gave him the spear and the shield.
Yeah.
So the fact that you get the Ice Armor axe on top of all that stuff, and in general, just the look of this figure for me is, again, he's one of my favorite variants of that era.
Yeah.
And to have it be represented like this is just wow. This is must have for me on every level, both of those figures.
This one's definitely coming out and going on the Christmas shelf, right? You got the snow globes and the Ice Power He-Man. He'll look great.
He's going to be the one under the tree telling Santa he was a good boy. You better bring him the goods, you know?
Exactly. I like the shoulder piece with the ice crystals, like he's carrying around, the Fortress of Solitude on his back. That's amazing.
I never thought of that, but that's a good point.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. that frosted plastic just looks so freaking cool.
So
No
good.
pun intended, but it just does.
You know, there's a Schleich. You know, Schleich makes these fantasy figures also, along with their realistic animals. There's a Schleich sort of ice beast that looks like a kind of like a rock monster. He would look great with this because they use the same frosted translucent blue and white plastic like this. Yeah, this is kind of amazing. I love the soft goods too. He's a gorgeous figure.
Yeah. And the boots are proof that Fisto will be around the corner at some point because
the
original figure used the Fisto legs to make that He-Man.
There you go. There you go. All right, this is one that I'm gonna have a hard time not getting this one. This is wonderful. I'm pissed. I'm genuinely frustrated I didn't get the clawful and from this line. So now I'm like, is this something that I need to jump on? And I'm having a hard time resisting it. This guy's gorgeous. Just gonna say it.
Yeah, he looks great.
Yeah.
Best merman of the show of the con.
Best merman of the con, exactly. Maybe not the best merman ever made, but definitely the best merman of the con. I mean, when I don't know if I've ever talked about this on the show, but when the 2000X figures first hit the shelves, I absolutely fell in love with that merman figure. He's probably one of the least interesting one as far as posability and like, you know, he's kind of small in comparison to some of the other figures. But I do still love that original 2000X merman figure. And this version looks just absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, there's been a few other shots that I've seen. The sculptor for Mondo, actually, he's been overwhelmed by how many people are absolutely loving this figure. And you know, he's thanking so many people for having so many nice things to say. But I mean, I know how you guys are. I've never been a big merman guy. I've always been more like Skeletor, Trapjaw, Beastman are always my guys out of the Evil Warriors for the most part. And this... Even like, when was that? I don't think it was at Sdcc, but I think it was somewhere between then that they showed the concept for Merman. They had him and Tila they showed off. And looking at the drawing, I remember just kind of going, all right, Merman's coming out. You know, I'll debate if I'm going to go there or not. Then when I see this, it's like, you know, this is another case in point of them bringing something to life that is going to beyond, like, your expectations will be blown away, and you're just sitting there going, I have to count all the scales. This is amazing, you know? And he's got so much detail on him. It is insane.
Yeah. This looks very much like the illustration on the map right below Skeletor in the movie, right? I love this face. It's definitely inspired by the cross-cell art. And so if they're going to go with, you know, we saw the merman at the end of the movie. That's, you know, where Travis Knight threw in a merman. I'm pretty sure that merman is, my hope is that merman that we saw behind Orko is just a minion. I really want the merman to look something like this in the film if he ever shows up in a sequel. But this is really cool. Chubulu1 says, for Evil Warriors, it's all Merman and Evil Lyn for me. Yeah, we're big fans of Merman and Evil Lyn here. So
it's funny. I'm the odd man out on that one, but I don't know. He never did as much for me as it did for you guys growing up for some reason.
That's all right.
He was in less episodes too. I think that's part of the thing. He never got as much, you know, put out there compared to Beastman was normally in an episode like at least once a week, maybe twice a week.
almost every episode, almost.
And same with Trap Jaw and stuff. So it was
Yeah.
like those were always in rotation. But Merman, he was like, oh, Merman's showing up today. Okay, you know.
Yeah, I was the kid that was like, wanting Merman to show up
Mm-hmm.
in an episode.
Same here.
Yeah,
Me
just
too.
waiting for him to show up. And I understand like why people wouldn't be attached to him, because he's just been, kind of on the sidelines this whole time. Even in the mini comics, he's there, but there's never been a lot of focus on him.
I think it's like Aquaman. It's that feeling of if it doesn't have to do with water, it makes no sense to put him in. But he is somebody who can be on the land and still do stuff, But I think the fact he's so tied to being the warlord of the oceans and all that people are just like, well, Aquaman can only talk to fish, so he sucks, or whatever. It's like, no, Aquaman's like pretty cool if you look at the actual stats of the guy, or whatever. Same with Merman, but his visibility is similar to Aquaman in that way. So,
yeah. So, does anybody know when this guy's going up for sale?
I didn't catch that.
I didn't either.
I'm going to throw a guess out there. I'm not going to say I'm right, but we just had Tila in June for the pre-order. They did Keldor for Sdcc, and then I asked Adam to look into this, and I don't know if he heard anything, but they were saying at Sdcc that it will be a 2-pack for the fire armor and the ice armor figures for Motu Fest. So my guess is he probably will be September or October, because they've been trying to do them quarterly, but right now they've also had Sdcc, and then Motu Fest will be in September.
Okay.
Right.
So
I still didn't hear back about the Motu Fest thing, if they're exclusives or how that's going to work.
Yeah, I'm not going to say more than that. I know at the booth they said that it would be in conjunction with that, but I don't know any more than what they said in the Pixel Dan video. But I would imagine he'd probably be maybe September or October, because that's a lot of pre-orders they're doing all boom, boom, boom right after the other. And they were saying they were only going to do a few figures a year for this line. So
yeah. And what are they running for approximately per figure? I forget.
So He-Man and Skeletor, they did the timed editions that were $125 each. And then they did 115. I'm sorry. It was like $115 for both of those. And Clawful was $125. And then the non-timed editions were $95 a piece. But here's the thing. The only non-timed editions that they've done have been He-Man and Skeletor. The others have all been timed editions. So Man-at-Arms, Tila were both in the 115 range and only available for a limited amount of time. And that's kind of how the line's going, I think. I think they wanted He-Man and Skeletor to be somewhat evergreen at the beginning if you wanted them. But now that they're getting into more stuff, it's just going to be, here's Merman this month, here's Fisto next month, or whatever. So it is a line that if you want to get in on it, jump on it when they're doing it.
Yeah,
get in on it, because they like Tila sold out in less than 24 hours, and they offered her a second time because of that.
Yeah, as Johnny Blues says, I'd have to rob a bank in order to afford them at eBay prices. So
yes,
yeah, jump on it if you want to get on board with this stuff. I'm gonna really have to start thinking carefully about this Merman here.
Honestly,
start setting aside a few bucks every day to get him.
I will honestly say, even with the movie stuff going on, and even with those new figures that we just showed, I am trying so hard to just stick to this line.
Yeah, that makes sense.
This is the only line I'm worried about, because once I got He-Man in hand, and now I'll have Skeletor in hand tomorrow, which makes me so freaking happy. I'm like,
that's
these
exciting.
Figures are worth me waiting and putting my money on these compared to everything else right now. The other stuff will be on clearance. I'll find it some other way, and it will be
yeah.
manageable. Clawful right now, if you try to get him on eBay, he's almost $500.
Yeah.
And he just came out. So I'm worried about the price later on after seeing that being the opening bids. So
and not only are they great figures, but I mean, look at this stand that he's on. It's incredible.
Yeah.
The Clawful stand was amazing too.
The worst one of the bunch was He-Man's. His is so tiny, but everybody else has a really cool stand.
Yeah. Hey, J-Mac. J-Mac says quality over quantity makes collecting Mondo viable. Yes.
Yeah.
For sure.
And I mean, I'm just glad that they're doing this scale. That's the other thing too. If they were doing these as 1/6, I'd be like, I couldn't even do it because number one, the price point and space. So, yeah.
I mean, their 1/6 Merman should have looked something like this.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
We got a sorceress coming. That cool.
Is pretty sweet.
This
and I
is
like the different heads too. You can make different characters.
The Filmation 1/6 scale. Yeah, she's gonna be beautiful. Stratos. You know, why not a Bluebeard head swap? You know.
Sure.
Why not a Bluebeard head swap? But that Stratos looks amazing, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's one of the best I've seen.
Yeah. Oh, man. We got the 1/12 Trapjaw. Look at that. Look at that arm. Oh, my gosh.
He actually, so he'll be the next one then after Merman because they haven't released anybody else in any other way. So he'll be next, which is cool because they've only released Skeletor as a bad guy so far. And then Merman will be the next one. So I'm looking forward to this. Although I'll be completely honest, if it takes the price down a couple bucks, I'll let them keep the fly swatter. Let me just have the clamp, the gun, and the hook, and I'm good, you know. But
wouldn't that be lovely if they gave you that option? I'll just take the figure,
a la carte,
no accessories, a la carte.
Right.
But yeah, no, this one I've been so excited to see what they do with him because he's one of my absolute favorite redesigns for 2000X to begin with. So I can't wait.
It looks like you can make him into Kronos too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
The Cronus head and the Cronus arm.
Yep. And another cool stand, it looks like, too.
And Stinkor is definitely on the way at some point because they gave him the mask, too, just like Skeletor has one if you get the timed edition.
Yeah, well,
Cool.
Stinkor is also going to be a difficult one for me to resist. I absolutely love my NECA Staction Stinkor from the 2000X.
That's one of the coolest 2000X designs, I think.
It's
absolutely.
He's so good. All right, and also from Mondo, we've got these, you know, another deluxe Skeletor. Incredible.
This one's one that I like it, but it wouldn't be like they did the other He-Man recently that you can make into King Grayskull and all that. And that one I was just like, all right, you know, like I already had the one and I was happy. This one's kind of the same way, but the one on the left is probably like, yeah, that works. The other two, the one in the middle makes me think he's in Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, he looks like Mortal Kombat for sure.
Yeah, and then the other one with the Terror Claws, we already had the Terror Claws in the other version, so I'm kind of like, all right, you know, I'd get it just for the left version, but I already have the one. I'm good. So
yeah. Cool stuff. I mean, there were a lot of amazing things announced at Comic-Con, but yeah, I think the stuff that really resonated with me the most were the Masters of the Universe announcements, and I know that's just because we're Masters fans. But they were like, I was a little disappointed that they didn't have more to show of the McDonaldland line, the NECA McDonaldland line, because I thought for sure they were going to show more of those. Like for sure they might show like the Hamburglar Ultimates, or show another Grimace Ultimate figure, or announce like when it's coming out. But there are a couple things that I was hoping to see that I didn't get to see, or that weren't announced. But there's some cool, Muppet stuff coming, and I pre-ordered the Oscar the Grouch, because that's an absolute essential thing for me, at least. I love Oscar. So, how about you guys? Anything else stand out to you?
That's kind of all I paid attention to was the master stuff.
Yeah.
Other than they did Deja Thoris for the Frazetta Girls line.
Yeah. I feel like the Frazetta Girls line is just getting better and better, or getting more exciting. They're doing some really cool stuff.
Yeah, that's one line that's really the only line that I'm collecting right now, at least as far as new lines go.
Yeah.
It's the girl stuff.
But sadly, that Deja Thoris is one that I know I would never be able to put on my shelf, even because my wife makes it down to the basement enough that if she saw that one, I just know I'll never hear the end of that one. So that's a line I'm willing to avoid. But it's a gorgeous looking figure. There's no way around it.
Yeah, but, that's real.
I'm trying to
just get a little piece of cloth, throw it over her or something.
That's a ghost.
Yeah.
Why is it so bumpy? Oh, remember Charlie Brown with the rocks? I mean, Charlie Brown had trouble with his costume too. I don't know. Like I guess for me, I noticed I had started collecting the Real Ghostbusters Mondo line, and then I didn't get Ray. And I've actually decided I think I'm going to part with them so that I can use that money to go towards the 2000X line, or pay down some bills and then feel a little bit better when I pre-order the 2000X line.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I saw they made I was really surprised they did the Ecto 1.
Yeah.
For that. And so that actually, I can honestly say one thing that has me worried about the 2000X line is, when are they going to reveal a Battle Cat? When are they going to reveal a Panther? And that's where I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to go that far. I think I'll just grab the figures and keep it to, I can display these on one shelf or two shelves. If you get into Battle Cat, you're going to end up going, well, now I need 3 shelves or 4 shelves. And before I know it, it's all Mondo figures and I don't have room for anything else. But I'm really impressed they're going there with the Real Ghostbusters line in particular, because that's a line that it only has so much that it can do before you get to a point of like, well, we got the Ghostbusters, I'm good, and so them doing that, I think actually might help that. And that was pretty much the only thing that I could think of. The Skeleton Warriors was another thing.
Those are gorgeous. Yeah.
But I don't have any attachment to those because those were after I was done collecting toys, or I wasn't going for those when I was a kid. So for the people that are excited, it's like Origins. I'm really happy you're excited, but for me, it's unfortunately just not one where I'm like, ooh. It's more like, cool, okay, they're out there. So
yeah. J Max said the Kermit Bob Cratchit figure stole my heart. Yeah, pretty adorable. Yeah. It's nice. It's really nice, and the Miss Piggy too is kind of amazing. She looks exactly like she looked when the Muppet Show first started. So the little things like that keep popping up from NECA are cool. I'm glad NECA's doing Muppets again. But yeah, I was more taken by we'll be getting Skeleton Warriors. Yes, indeed. I was more taken a little bit more taken by the Masters announcements, and I feel it's really cool that Mattel just seems to be amping up their Masters stuff, and they're playing around with ideas, and I feel like they're having fun with it again, and that's really important. To keep an IP alive like this, the companies in charge need to really be having fun, and I think they're doing that. And Mondo's doing amazing stuff too.
I've heard. Okay, so on some of these reviews that I was watching just for the Skeletor figure, so that I can like get myself even more pumped than I already am to get this figure tomorrow. Yeah. There have been so many of the reviewers going, Mondo, can you do a classic He-Man line at that scale? And no 2000X, just go to the vintage feel and do your own line. And I'm just there like, I would need to get a third job because I already have 2 jobs. I will need a third job just for that to go and funnel to Mondo at that point.
I will tell you this. Yeah, I'm Adam. I think you were going to say this. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to jump in. What were you going to say?
I was basically that would be the upgrade from classics, right?
Yeah,
that would be like the true successor to the classics.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I could say this without question that most of the stuff behind me would be sold off so I could get those. If they committed to doing the vintage style, like Mondo style, vintage inspired figures at that scale, it would be a real hard thing for me to ignore.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, imagine a Mondo version of this, you know, it would be phenomenal. And then I'd stop collecting because that would be it. I'd get those and be done for the rest of my life.
The funny thing is, I was watching a video of what's his name, Toy Bro.
Oh yeah,
and he does all those customizations and all that stuff. He customized his He-Man Mondo figure that was $100-some to make him more classics looking.
Oh,
and then when I saw that, I'm thinking to myself, classics to me is still that line. Like I that is the pinnacle of Masters, but this 2000X line is
we got Uncle Sean froze up on us. Did he say it was He Bro or Toy Bro?
I thought I said Toy Bro.
Okay. Now I'm going to go check that out because I know He Bro also does customizes as well.
Yeah.
Well, Sean, Sean's frozen. Oh, there you are. Yeah, good.
There we go.
Did you finish your thought? Did you say it was He Bro or Toy Bro?
It's He Bro. He does custom. He did a lot of classics customizing on YouTube and stuff. But he did one, and if you look it up, it'll just be I customized my expensive Mondo figure to make him look like a classics figure. And when I saw the video, I'm like, I don't even know what to think now because I wouldn't be able to do that. I look at that and I go, no, I'm good. Like it doesn't need to be fixed.
It's hard to touch
Some
those
people
things.
need to fix it, I guess. I don't know.
Well, I mean, you know, Alan did his Mondo 1/6 Beastman into a red Beastman, so you know, but you know, he also has 4 of these.
Yeah, he has 4 of them though.
Yeah,
I mean, he's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we're at the end of our episode. Adam, what you got going? I know you must be extraordinarily busy right now. Are you finding a way to stay sane with all these announcements?
I'm okay now because the movie stuff is over.
Yeah.
And then comic Sdcc was like a blip. It's like, okay, I'm busy for like a weekend. But the news is way slower now, so it's much easier to just like not be doing that every 3 seconds. So I'm feeling better in life.
That's good. Are either of you going to Motu Fest?
Yeah. I'll have a table there. So if anybody who's going, come and see me at the human.org table.
Oh man, that's amazing. I wish I could go. That's so cool. I still think that maybe my builds will be there. The big Castle Grayskull and Snake Mountains, they might be there. Cool. So because they did arrive safely in Arcola, Illinois. So I do think that they might be there. So hopefully they'll be there too. You guys can say hi. You guys can say hi to each other.
Yeah.
Sean, how about you? Are you going?
I wish I could, but I gotta find anybody that's looking for a kidney and a couple of lungs so that I can keep financing this Mondo habit I'm getting, because the more figures I see, the more I'm like, oh, I don't care about them, but I need them somehow. I bought Keldor. I'm like, I don't care about Keldor, but when I saw what Mondo did, I'm like, I need Keldor too. So
that's a pretty bold move for you, Sean, to get Keldor. That means that they're doing a good job.
I looked at that figure and I go, holy crap, all the things that make him Skeletor are for Skeletor, and they literally made a Keldor figure that doesn't look like Skeletor.
That's incredible.
And I'm like, and I love these figures enough that I go, I don't mind getting one more. I can make some space. And then, yeah, this is going to be a bad line for me. I can just feel it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, it's incredible art. I mean, really, it's how you have to think about it. And if the value of these things go up, you can just have that in the back of your mind as like, okay, it was an investment. It was a wise investment. And I mean, it's I don't really support that way of collecting, or that sort of like that drive to collect so that you accrue value in your collection. I don't think that makes sense, but it is sure nice to know that you have some, things that are worth a bit more in your collection when you look at the effort that you made to bring joy into your life by spending money that most normal people who don't do this type of thing wouldn't spend. Then knowing that investment was wise on occasion is kind of a nice thing, right?
I mean, when you look at the eBay listings, there is that, but that's eBay. That's the other thing too. Like, if I was going to sell these, I wouldn't be looking at eBay prices. I would be trying to do something there where it's like, this will sell at this price.
Yeah, that's true.
But because I mean, there's plenty of figures on eBay right now where nobody wants to grab them at $500. I can tell you that much.
Alan, I'm really good at turning $100 figure into a $35 figure. That's awesome.
My heart aches there, but I also kind of I respect that in a really weird way too.
Well, it's also just when customizing to make something be more of what you want it to be, and
sure.
That's worth more than any dollar in my opinion.
It is. And the other thing, and I'll shut up finally, but the other thing is, it's just nice that this era of Masters is being represented in such a beautiful way. Yeah. Because the Horsemen brought something to the 2000X line to make me get excited again about Masters. And then that's always been nobody talks about 2000X. It failed. We don't want to talk about that for how many years. And then with Mondo bringing it back like this, it's like, I want to talk 2000X. I've been willing to talk 2000X. Now I have a reason to talk 2000X. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I wish all of our, pocketbooks luck over the next few years. But I guess the thing to remember is I hope that people out there that can't afford to buy everything, I hope that they don't buy everything. It's hard. There's a lot of beautiful things being made and being put out there, and it's wise to keep yourself in check. And also, you just never know what's going to pop up. Like, if whether you might not usually have luck finding things on clearance at Ross or wherever you go for clearance things. You might not usually have luck finding cool objects at yard sales and stuff like that, but you just never know what's going to pop up. Like, as an example, I'm tempted to not buy that new Snake Mountain just for the lava falls, you know, because I might happen across a lava falls in the future, or I can make one for myself using resin. But it's always tempting. It's always tempting. So yeah. Well, you know, for people that watch this channel, I don't have any builds coming up. Nothing, no commissions coming in. It's been kind of nice. I've taken a long period of time to recover, and I genuinely needed that time to recover. But I do have something planned for this channel that is a bit of a throwback. So I want to just do a little show and tell real quick.
I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. Every day, once a day, give yourself a present.